Today's presenter is our friend Belsa Rios with CAMI. Before joining CAMI, Belsa taught social studies for students in grades 8 through 12 for 15 years with Valley View Independent School District in Texas. Belsa is currently a teacher success champion and business development representative for CAMI, helping teachers along their professional learning journey. Learn more at camiapp.com. Welcome back, Belsa. We're glad you can join us today. Welcome to the webinar, everyone. It's my pleasure to welcome back Belsa Rios from CAMI. We had a nice little chat online before we were ready to broadcast. Belsa, welcome back.
Hi, Matt. Thank you so much for having me. I always love working with the LTC. Ever since I met you guys, you and CAMI, we created this amazing partnership. And I just always love coming back and sharing new things with everybody from the great state of Illinois and anybody wherever you guys are joining us from.
Yeah. We do have a little comment section. We've already had a couple of people tell us where they're joining us from. Welcome, welcome. Please keep dropping those locations in. That lets us know, helps us understand our reach with these webinars, and also helps build a nice little online community. So let us know where you're joining us from and what your role is in education or wherever it is you work. Belsa, I'm going to merge into the background and turn the stage over to you because you're the one that folks came to listen to today. So take it away.
Thank you so much, Matt. Thank you to everybody who's joining us this afternoon. So my name is Belsa Jeanette Rios. I am joining you guys from deep, deep, deep South Texas. I live in an area known as the Rio Grande Valley in the city of Pharr, Pharr, and my coworkers, friends, they all love to say that I live far, far away, which I really do. I have met Matt and the LTC crew a couple years back when I first started working at CAMI, and we created this great partnership. I always really enjoy doing these webinars because I know that we're just trying to help teachers along and instructional coaches and administrators. And the topic today really is about using CAMI to empower student voice and choice. I was in school many years ago, and it was funny because there wasn't a lot of choice for students. We all tested the same test. It was all multiple choice. It was all either written paper. There wasn't really a way for students to express themselves way back in the day when I was in school. And it's funny to see, and it's actually great to see how education has really changed to where we give students a voice and a choice. So I'm going to be using CAMI today to present our student voice and choice. Now, if you want your notes for today and you want to join me in today's activity, please go ahead and join by going to rebrand.ly/LTC 2024. And you're going to jump right into the notes with me. And we're going to be able to just work on student voice and choice. Thank you so much, Matt, for putting that up there for our wonderful guests. So I'm going to go ahead and exit out of presentation mode. So if you were unaware, just a couple of quick tips that I want to share on CAMI before we dive in. We now have presentation mode, which is absolutely amazing. It'll be found in our menu, top right-hand corner, way down at the bottom, and this allows it just to expand completely. But since we are going to be working inside of CAMI to give students voice and choice, we're exiting out of presentation mode. Now, why is it important to give students voice and choice? Well, first of all, we all don't learn the same. Some of us are visual, some of us are auditory, and others can just literally learn just by walking on by. I used to say that those were my students that learned through osmosis, but they were just, self taught learners. But Cami is a great tool to give students voice and choice. Now, I see that I already have one participant here down in my collaborative corner. Thank you so much for joining. And again, it is rebrand.ly/LTC 2024. Now, if you don't have Cami, you can just install it for free. We have the extension there for you guys. But today I'm going to be showing you a couple of tools that you can use inside of Cami for student voice and choice. Now, hopefully, I have some very young spring chicken teachers that remember a little bit about the 80s because we're going to have to travel back in time and tell me what you remember most about the 80s. Now, before you start throwing stuff on here, what I want you guys to notice is you may not have all the tools, and that's okay. Because with Cami, teachers have complete autonomy over what tools they want to share out with their students. Let me show you how to do that. Up here on our top right hand corner, we've got a couple of menus, we've got a couple of choices. But if you want to look for those tools, you want to look for the shared document feature. Kind of looks like a molecule sideways V, and it is right next to our printer. When I click on shared document, that's how I got that link. I made everybody an editor. That means we're all joining in this group together. Now, what you may notice is that I gave you no tools whatsoever. And there's a reason for this. So, even though kids all need voice and choice, they also do need some instructions. So, I love that we have our collaborative corner and that I've got my guest users and all my friends in here. So, here is what I would love for you guys to do. In just a little bit, I'm going to open up the text box. So, you're going to get one tool. And I know you're probably thinking, really, girl, this is voice and choice, and you're giving me one choice. There's a reason. Cami has over 40 different tools. So even within our text box, we've got a color picker. We have a rich text box editor where you can switch out your fonts. By the way, Open Dyslexic and Lexent are specific for our dyslexic students. And we also have voice typing. So as soon as I start speaking, it will start typing. So even within just one tool, you do have several choices. So I'm going to go ahead and open up a text box. And each of you is going to have to tell me what you remember from the 80s. And guess what, guys? You can use Google to help you. Just in case you don't remember what 80s bad fashion was, our acid wash jeans, our headbands, our fanny packs, which, by the way, apparently are making a comeback. So, using the text box, tell me one thing you remember about 80s fashion, 80s music and culture, 80s sports, and then 80s vehicles. And as I mentioned, you can use Google for this because, some of us need a little help. So, what I'm going to do now, I am now going to open up my tools. I will give you the select tool, our text box, and that is about it. And I'm going to hit OK down at the bottom. And you shall now have the text box, the select tool, and the question tool because we are currently testing this one out, making sure it gets all the kinks out. That one always kind of stays on. But go ahead and grab your text box and oh my God, Duran, I remember them. Oh my God, I had totally forgotten. You don't forget to use your rich text box editor. Go have fun with some of the fonts. Members only jackets. The Super Bowl shuffle. Oh, you guys are good. You guys remember good stuff. Electric seatbelts. That one I don't remember. But yeah, have fun with the rich text box editor. You can even try the voice typing yourself. Just tell me big hair. So, true story, I have three older sisters, and I truly, truly believe that my two oldest sisters are responsible for the ozone, the hole in the ozone layer. I don't know if you guys remember Aquanet. It was a hairspray that came in a purple bottle. I think each of my sisters would have two cans because they would do the flip. So one can went under the hair and the other one they would use to spray. And I would just look at them like, how are you going to wash that out of your hair? But yep, Aquanet was huge in the 80s. The DeLorean, the 1985 Bears. I love it. Stirrup pants. By the way, did y'all know those are making a comeback? I was doing this activity at a school the other day and somebody told me that they are making a comeback. I was like, there's just some things that really just should stay in the 80s. And I think stirrup pants is one of them. All right. So thank you so, so much for collaborating. Now, if your students are not very good at typing, or this is just not their way of answering, they're not, this just isn't for them. Don't worry. I'm going to show you other ways that your students can answer just the same way that you guys are. All right. Love it. Are we good? Can we skip a decade? Awesome. Now, a couple of things that I want to show you when it comes to this part of Cami is as the teacher, if I find this, a little inappropriate, a little sassy, I do have the option to delete. In the roadmap for all new things coming to Cami is the ability that as a teacher, I'll be able to move some of these comments around. Currently, as a teacher, you only have the option to delete, but don't worry, Cami is constantly improving themselves. And one of the new things that they are coming up with is that ability to be able to move those comments around. Now, if you try to delete somebody else's comment, what you're going to notice is you can't. And we've kind of built that into Cami for the reason that we don't want anybody messing with anybody's work. You can change, add, and remove from your own work, but you won't be able to do it for somebody else's. So that is actually intentionally built into Cami. All right, so we are done with the 80s. Duran Duran, Van Halen, our acid wash jeans, and our Aquanet hair. And we're going to fast forward and we're going to move 10 years down the road. And we are now going into the 90s. So now here's where the choice comes in. I'm going to leave the text box open. However, and I really hope you guys can love doing this. I'm going to open up one more tool for you, and that is the comments tools. Now, what's different between the text box and a comment is the fact that our comments are off to the side. So while your text box are staying on the inside, right? Our comments, so let's just say 90s fashion, I know what I remember. Parachute pants from MC Hammer. Our comments are going to be off to the side. Now, the reason I wanted to show you this is because if we have Chumbawamba, oh my gosh, you guys are bringing me back very good memories. I love this. If you guys have something that's really, really text heavy, you might not want to add more to it. So with our comments, whether that's a voice, whether that's a video, and you want to, throw me in a little picture of a car that you remember from the 90s, all of our comments stay off to the side. So this is a way for your students to maybe ask for clarification or for you as the teacher to do some reteaching off to the side. So we've got our text box and you guys are on it with the text box. I'm going to go ahead and delete this comment right here. But you guys are totally free to now also use our text comment, our voice comment, our video comment, and even screen capture. So what do you remember from the 90s? Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls were huge in the 90s. Chumbawamba was great. Tight roll jeans. Yes, I remember these. Does anybody remember something, a vehicle from the 90s? And remember, it is all fair game. We can use Google if you guys need a little help. What car was big in the 90s? Ah, the Mazda Miata. Tiny little vehicle. Now, several things that I want to point out is uh, three Pete. Couple of things that I want to point out is just showing you guys that one, you don't have to give the students all the tools. Sometimes giving them too many choices can be very overwhelming for them, especially if you just leave everything open. We have over 40 different tools. So, can you imagine how overwhelming that might feel? So, it would be cool if you could limit the choice as well, because sometimes, hey, we need to narrow the focus. They need to just, hey, this is all you get. And also, with the activity that's in the background, so what do you remember most from the 90s? I show this because it's a fun way to get you guys going, to get you guys interacting with the activity itself. But we can do this academically as well. You know, what do you remember most from, for example, if you're the ELA teacher? What do you remember most from The Great Gatsby? That honestly has to be one of my favorite stories or books. And, you can include, who were your main characters? Where is the setting? Different things like that. But when you're introducing something new, I always like to start off with a fun activity that kind of just brings the kids' guards down. It introduces them to Cami. It lets them know, hey, you got different tools. These are the ones that we're mostly going to be working with. So it's just a great way to allow this new learning experience to happen. The Beastie Boys. Love, love, love it. Awesome. So now we're going to jump 10 more years and we are going to go into the 2000s. So this decade, we're going to stick between 2000 and 2010, right? Because, if not, we'd be all the way up to 24 now. But we're going to stick to 2000, 2010. Now, here's where you guys are going to get to go all crazy and wild. I am going to remove the text box. Oops, I don't want my printer. I'm going to go back into my feature control. I don't want you guys using the text box anymore. I think you guys are experts at it. I see it. I love it. I'm going to turn them all on with the exception of the text box. And you guys are going to be able to use any tool to tell me what you remember most about the 2000s. And again, you can use Google if you need a little help. But one of the best features that I want to show you is how to embed a YouTube video. So, a lot of the times we do have students who are visual learners. They need to physically be able to see what you are doing. And a great way to do that is by adding a YouTube video. If you teach science, the Amoeba Sisters are absolutely amazing. If you taught social studies or teach social studies like I do, I absolutely love Crash Course. They're great videos. Khan Academy has amazing videos for math, and Pearson and others have for ELA. So I'm going to go ahead and go into Add Media, and I'm going to go into YouTube, right? Because I want to insert a YouTube video. But here we're focusing on the 2000s. So somebody for sure that I can remember from the 2000s with the battle of the boy bands is NSYNC. I'm pretty sure you guys remember NSYNC and the battle of the bands. And of course, their first, I think this was one of their first hit singles, Tearing Up My Heart. Now, with YouTube, I've always understood the hesitation with teachers because here we've got an Airbnb. Do we really need our students to know about Airbnb? Not really. So I'm going to come down here to our share button and I'm going to copy this link right here. I'm going to jump right back into my Kami assignment and I'm going to paste the link. So what this is going to allow me to do is actually drop it right into the assignment. I can even shorten it if I like. And I'm going to hit insert video. And then I'm going to grab it from this little corner and just shorten it. So here is what I remember from the 2000s, the Battle of the Boy Bands. And I was an NSYNCer over a Backstreet Boy. But if you were a Backstreet Boy over an NSYNCer, then you can go ahead and go to Add Media, add YouTube, open it up. And then, of course, here, if you were on the opposite end of the boy band, you would go to Backstreet Boys. Oops. And you can pick your song, right? So you now have access to all the tools with the exception of the text box. Do you see what I did there? Because you guys are really good at using your text box up here. And Jill, thank you so much for using the text comment. Absolutely love it. But now show me what new tool you can use, or what new tool do you want to learn how to use? I am always keen to um, help you guys learn your different tools. But what do you remember most about the 2000s? And I'll give you guys about a minute or two to kind of go through what you remember. Let me make sure I opened up the tools. Yep, we got them all going, with the exception of the text box. Oh, geez, we had to go there with Tom Brady and the Patriots. I'm still a bit bitter. My 49ers lost yesterday. Or Sunday, I'm sorry. Still a little bit hurt. Oh my God. Oh, yeah. The Prius was huge, wasn't it? Absolutely huge. I love that you guys found Google image search, by the way. It is safe search filter, so you don't have to worry, are your kids going to get into something that they're not supposed to? We do have safe search filters. Oh my God, you guys are doing an amazing job, by the way. Thank you so much for participating. And if you have any questions, or if you need a little extra help, please do not hesitate to just drop it in the chat, and Matt will throw that up there for me. All right. Now, if I was doing this in class and I see that they are struggling, I can, excuse me, I can go ahead and open up the text box, because if that's what my students are comfortable with, I don't want to take them out of their comfort zone either. If this is what they're used to, then you know what? Leave it up there for them. Let that be their choice. So if you guys want to use your text box to tell me what you remember about the fashion, the music, the sports, and the vehicles of the 2000s, by all means, you now have the text box open, because we do want to give students their own voice and their choice on what tools they use and how they use them in these different activities. Yeah, the 2000s were kind of a blur, weren't they? Now, if you're wondering, where can you get cool templates like this? We have these. It's just a matter of emailing us or messaging us on any of our social medias. Everything is hashtag CamiApp or camiapp.com. But one of the cool things that Cami now has added as of November of last year, I believe, is we now have an amazing library that has many templates that teachers like yourself or IT coaches, you guys can just go in there and grab them and just create them and make them your own. So how do we get to this amazing Cami library? Let me show you. So if you go up and you have your Cami extension, you can just go ahead and click on that Cami extension and it'll take you straight into the dashboard. If not, it is as easy as going into your Omnibox and just typing in Cami Library, and it should be that very first link. So Several ways, but you're going to get there. Now, what is in our Kami library? Well, a lot. We are now up to over something like 2,045 different templates. How do you search for these templates? Completely up to you. Do you want to go by subject? Are you the social studies teacher, much like I was for 15 years? Or are you the world languages teacher? Because we have so many different language features that Cami now has to offer. Or are you the amazing ELA teacher who is teaching our kids how to write, read, spell, and all the grammar that they need? Do you want to look for a certain type of template? Maybe you just need a graphic organizer. You want a, KWL chart or the Frayer model, or one of our more popular ones is main idea and supporting details. These can all be found in our Cami library, and they can all be edited so that they are tailor made for your class and for what you need. We also have some of my favorites. They're the brain breaks because, it can't all be studying 24/7. At some point, we just need to take a little break, build a monster, build a snowman, play a little bingo, play a little checkers. It's just every now and then you want to just decompress. And if you have a spare minute in your class, which, I know it's rare, but if we do have them, it would be great to just have your students create a monster and just, decompress for a bit. But yep, all of these can be found in our Cami library. And again, these are just different ways for you to give your students a choice of how they want to learn, what templates they want to use, and so forth. So again, Cami library, 2000 and so templates. And if you have a great idea, by the way, because I would love to say that we are all creative geniuses at Cami, and some of us are. I don't have a very creative bone in my body, but if you have a great idea, please go ahead and throw it into our library request or feedback. And you can even just take a picture of something you drew on a napkin and say, hey, can you do this for us? And we are happy to make those templates. And here we just have some, testimony as to how these are helping out teachers. Because again, it's all about making life easier for the teacher. All right, so let's go back to our student voice and choice. All right, so we've got our fashion, we have our music, we have our sports. Okay, so now here is a question for you. We've talked a lot about student voice, choice, different tools that we can give them because every student has a different mode of learning. Based on the activity that we just did, going through the decades, 80s, 90s, 2000s, how would you define student voice and choice? So, again, you guys can use your text box. You guys can drop in a comment. You can even go to your ad media, record a video for me, and tell me, hey, let me start recording. Hey, my definition of student voice and choice is, you finish recording and you drop it right in here. And you're like, that is too big. That is absolutely fine because we can always minimize. So, based on our activity, how would you define student voice and choice? And again, grab whatever tool you like. Let me double check that they're all open. Yep, we've got them all open. So now it's your turn. Oh, thank you so much, Matt, for putting those back up for our guest. If you had not joined in our Chemi activity, you can just go to rebrand.ly/LTC 2024. Oh, I love it. Letting students show their knowledge in any means they feel comfortable with. Awesome. I don't know if you guys remember, but a while back, there was this picture, and I just remember it so vividly. It was a fish, an elephant, a bird, and they all had to climb the tree. And it was trying to, I guess it was a satire on standardized testing that we all don't learn the same way. So I was given the option, as you can tell, I would just talk. But we know that not all our students are talkers. Some are typers, some are artists. So letting them show their knowledge in a way that they feel comfortable with is a great, great answer. So thank you so much. And if you wonder who said that, all you got to do is hover over and we can look at the initials. And I know that this is from Ms. Jill. Ms. Jill, thank you so much. This is an absolute gem of an answer. It is completely true because that's the number one thing that we want to make sure that our students are comfortable and that they know that their knowledge can be expressed in any mode. So, as the rest of you kind of drop in your answers, you can even drop them in here, drop them in the chat over here on StreamYard, whichever one you prefer. It's totally up to you because it's all about choice today, right? So, I want to show you guys a couple of more activities, where you can get these different choice boards, where you can get different playlist ideas and templates and so forth, so that you can take these back into your classroom or just share them with your colleagues. So, again, enhancing education through student empowerment because it's all about the student, right? We, as teachers, because I still consider myself a teacher, we would not have our lovely, wonderful, amazing jobs if it wouldn't be for our students. So, how do we get started, right? You want to create something that is supportive and inclusive in the classroom. As you notice, you might think, I don't, as you were doing the activity going through the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, obviously your kids would not be able to hit the 80s and the 90s, um, but creating something that allows them to first feel comfortable. So that's, I think, the number one key when you want your kids or your students, sorry, to be able to join in these activities. You want them to feel supported and you want them to feel like, I can do this. So you don't want to make it just one tool. So imagine if I had given you guys just the camera and I asked you to create a video. I'm pretty sure that would send some of you into a complete and total panic. You're like, I did not comb my hair. I am having a bad day. There are too many pimples and wrinkles and too much going on here. I'm pretty sure some of you would go into full blown panics. So you don't want to just limit yourself to one mode of answer. You want to kind of make it inclusive for all. So this is another one that I absolutely love. So this is basically based off our Freyer model, and it's, do you agree or do you disagree? Should pets be allowed to come to school? So this is what I want you guys to do. You guys are going to answer this question, but you're going to use stickers. Okay, so let me show you where our stickers are. So again, think about it. The question is, should pets be allowed to come to school? Right? Do you strongly agree? Do you somewhat agree? Disagree? Or strongly disagree? So we're going to use stickers and you're going to drop a sticker wherever you feel about pets in school. You are going to go into add media, and here, I'm going to make it real simple for you guys. I'm going to turn them all off. I'm going to go to add media, but I'm only going to open up the stickers. This is why I absolutely love our tools, because now you only have one. That way I'm not telling you go here, go there, go everywhere. All you have to do is click on add media. You're only going to see the little happy face for the stickers. And then you can grab a heart. You can grab the pencil, a medal. Love this. So cool. Fantastic. Whichever, or almost there, if you're like, not really. But I am going to grab my little heart and I'm going to agree. And obviously, I'm going to resize this. And I'm going to agree and say that pets should be allowed in school. So go ahead and grab your sticker from our add media. And where do you fall under this question? Should pets be allowed in school? Now, this could be dogs, cats, iguanas, lizards, um, hamsters, gerbils, snakes, if that's your cup of tea. Okay, so we've got two agrees, one disagrees. All right. Now, what I love about this activity in particular is that it then leads to more, right? So we've got our arguments, right? We all have said we agree or we disagree. So next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch it. I'm going to come back into my tools. And again, choice, right? And I'm now going to give my kiddos the comments, right? And I'm leaving the text comment on there. And I want you to justify your answer. Because don't we always ask our kids, hey, why did you choose that? So I can go ahead and grab my voice comment, and right next to my sticker, I can put, I agree because having my dog, I have a German Shepherd, would make me feel much more relaxed at school. And it would also make me feel safe because he is my guard dog. So not only have we gotten our students to, hey, where do you fall in line with pets in school? But using a different tool, we can now say, hey, do me a huge favor, justify your answer. So you could use a voice comment. I could have used a text comment. Again, it's all about what works for your students, what works for you, right? So justify your answer. Why do you agree? Why do you disagree? And again, you've got your comments and you've got all four: text, voice, video, and screen capture. All right. We always, when it comes to student voice and choice, we always want to let our students know that that they are very much free to express their opinions, their ideas. Something like this opens up discussions. Obviously, here we're making the question very relaxed. We're making it very much like, hey, it's just a fun question. However, think of this in your history classes. You know, um, should the draft had existed, back when we had the draft. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, Jill. I won't bring my dog to school. Oh, yeah. The allergies one, true story, I did not know I was allergic to cats. I've never had cats. We never had cats growing up. We always had dogs. But my sister got a cat not that long ago, and she went on vacay, asked me to cat sit. And that is how I found out that I was very much allergic to cats. Yeah, it was not good. Benadryl was needed. So, yeah, I had not thought about the allergies. That is a great point. So, see, here we are opening up the discussion. We're each being respectful of each other's opinions and ideas. And I love the fact that if I was a student, I can't go in there and delete this. So let's just say I disagreed with Matt. And I'm like, no, I don't agree. In other platforms, you could be able to delete. However, with Cami, you can't. So we're also teaching the fact of, hey, we got to be respectful. So, yeah, I love this. Thank you so much for participating. And if you want to participate, by all means, let us know if you want to join in because you haven't had the link. We were happy to put it out there for you guys. It's a Rebrandly link, and it's just a great way for you guys to join in this afternoon and not just sit and listen. Although you do have that choice as well. Love it. Yep. Love it, love it. And it fosters so this is what I love about these activities, that they kind of build upon themselves, right? So for example, when we were talking about the decades, we started building on the tools. Here we're building. So we start off with something kind of simple. And then we just kind of build up on it because the question starts off, where do you agree, disagree? But then, hey, let's justify it. Let's look at each other's opinions. How do I feel about that? How do you feel about this? So great. Thank you so much for participating. You guys are doing awesome when it comes to voice and choice. All right. So, what can you as a teacher do in order to continue to grow this voice and choice? Always provide a range of options. Let them decide, do they want to be independent? Do they want to be with a group? Do they want to work with a teacher? We want to be able to show our kids that they can be independent workers. So we have that option. So here we're all working in a group, but we do have the option to create an individual copy in case we do have those students that don't work well in a group. We know that group work isn't for everybody, and that's perfectly fine. We do have the option to create an individual copy. However, you also do want to be able to give them the opportunity to work with a group, whether that's a small group or a big group or one on one with the teacher. So you always want to provide that range of options and then learn what works best for them. Now, if your student does have an IEP, their individual education plan, there are some tools that they will need. For example, our amazing Read Out Loud. Let me make sure I don't have it in Spanish because I was doing a Spanish training earlier today. But we do have our Google English. So if you do have a student who does require that read out loud, we do have that there for them. But if they don't have an individual education plan, let them decide what works best for them. Now, if this is their first time using Cami, you might want to roll out the tools a little at a time, just because having over 40 different things to play with might be a little distracting for students, whether they're 4, 14, 24, or 44. And then, of course, let them demonstrate they're learning. Um, One of the activities that I used to love doing with my students is um, even though I did teach social studies, we were a cross curricular school. So I would pair up with the LA teacher and support them. And in one of the ways that we supported them was reading novels that were tied to the area in geography that we were covering or the era in history. So when we would get to Europe and the world wars, we read The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. Now, the book is very different from the movie. And I will let you know that the book does not give you a clear ending, much like the movie does. So, when my students and I finished reading The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, we got onto Cami. I showed them that last little paragraph from The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, and I let them create an ending to the story. Some of them wrote it out because they are great at writing and typing. Others gave me a video and they just expressed the ending that they thought happened. And so we had many different endings to The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, and they used different tools. So it's all about allowing them to know, hey, it doesn't all have to be just one way, right? So give them those different opportunities and let them see what works for them. Now, I do understand. I come from the state of Texas where standardized testing is king. So we do also have Cami questions, which if you've built a Google form, you can build a Cami question because it's very much the same. So I do understand that sometimes we have to stick to our standardized options, which are also found in Cami. But if you don't have to and you can give them different choices, by all means, go right ahead and do so. Right. So, again, how do we start with choice and voice? It's deciding, hey, what are we doing today? Group, independent, or, teacher work? Um, how do you learn? Which tools work for you? And then how do you want to show what you are learning or what you're thinking? So there's our amazing annotation tools, accessibility as always. And then, of course, we always want feedback from our students. When you ask them for feedback, it makes them feel like they're part of building the class, not just part of the class, like, oh, yeah, I'm in Ms. Rios' geography class, but that we're building the class together. Like, okay, this activity didn't work for us. Let's toss it and get a new one. So always seek their input. Love it, love it. So I'm going to go ahead and get you guys started with some really fun activities that we have. So one of the great ways to show students like what their knowledge is by comic creations. And as I said, we've got these in our Kami library. They're absolutely amazing. A visual or art gallery, you would be surprised how artistic some of your students are, and even some of your fellow teachers. Mind maps, hey, what's your thought process here? How did you get from A to B to C? And of course, our digital storyboard creation. So this very much mirrors kind of like the activity of with the boy in the striped pajamas, where everybody kind of gave the book a different ending. Now, if you are looking for some of these templates, let me show you where you can get them besides the Kami library. You can go into our educator group, and there are this is on Facebook, and there's always sharing back and forth. But we also do have our Kami library, our fundamentals course. So there's great areas where you guys can, of course, get all these amazing resources. And then again, there's always my information. So I'm way up at the top. Let me go back to page 1. There we go. So this is my information, by the way. That is my email. Even if you are not a Kami customer, by the way, you can always email me and say, hey, I was in your LTC webinar. Absolutely love Kami. We would love to get Kami to you. It would be a completely free trial, probably from here to May, because, it's the end of the school year. Why not? Or if you are a current Kami customer and you guys are just wanting more examples of student voice and choice, by all means, please feel free to email me. It is hyperlinked, by the way, so it'll jump you right into that email. So you don't have to worry about creating it. Just, click on it and it'll take you straight in there. And of course, never forget to visit our Kami library, which has all those amazing templates. So for example, if you are ready for your students to create comics, there we have so many different templates. So that's the one that you guys saw in the presentation. Now, a lot of the do you agree, disagree, honestly, it's just our Frayer model. Another really creative way that I saw the Frayer model being used, if you are a math teacher, I saw one of the math teachers put the math problem here, and they had to work out the problem because it was by steps. So that was an amazing way that they used the Frayer model. I had never seen it used that way, but that was the teacher showing like, hey, this is my choice. This is how I'm going to work with this template. So, yep, math problem. And then they did their steps here, came up with the solution, and it was really cool to see. You can create stations as well, but there are so many templates inside of our Kami library. Okay. So that is all I have for you today. We've got about 9 more minutes, but I know that we do some closing comments and so forth. But do we have questions, thoughts, ideas, suggestions, or opinions? We take them all at Kami.
Well, thank you so much, Belsa. And folks, if you have any questions, please drop those into the comments, excuse me, here in StreamYard, or if you're watching on YouTube, you can drop them into the comments there as well. So real quick, Belsa, while you're taking a quick break there, I had one quick question. I noticed as we were playing around in the document and learning more about these features that I could go up to someone else's, as a student, I could go up to someone else's comment and make a reply to
Yep.
them as well.
Yeah.
Is that something I
Let me get rid
I
of
see that
Grammarly.
as being very beneficial, but as a former middle school teacher, that
Oh,
also,
moody
um,
middle schoolers.
um, concerns me, right?
Um, you know what, Matt? I'm gonna be super honest. This is the first time we've always shown it as a way to reply, but we've never had somebody ask if we can turn it off. But I am totally gonna ask our engineers because you are right. What if I'm a moody middle schooler and I wanna write something that I'm not supposed to?
Yeah.
Very true. I am you know what? I'm gonna add that to our
Mhm.
engineering notes because that is a great feature. I love it.
Another item that I know this is a great accessibility feature. I noticed next to your audio comments, there's that little icon, and I was curious, what does that icon do? And it can generate captions,
Yep.
which is delightful. Is that a part of the free version? Is that a premium option?
It is
Um,
part of our premium option, but
okay,
just because the comment tool is part of the premium option. But yes,
gotcha.
these are self-generated, captions. So when the video starts playing, it does we have that created our very own auto, generated captions. It is part of the premium version, as I mentioned, because the comment tool is part of it. However, we always wanna be able to help our teachers, so if you would love to try out the premium version, please email me. We will get that out to you at no cost and at no obligation to pay for it, by the way.
Very interesting. That's Cami is so much fun to work with.
Oh, and so is the LTC. I love
Oh,
working with you guys.
thank
I
you.
absolutely love. Yeah, but usually no one had ever asked us to turn off the replies,
Mhm.
but you are right. You
Just
are so totally right.
I've worked in some uh, interesting uh, environments
Areas.
in my past. Let's just leave it right there.
I
So,
will. Oh, you guys are
okay,
awesome.
are there any other questions today? All right. Well, seeing no more activity in our comments, I guess we'll bring this to a close.
Love it.
Belsa, thank you for showing us around some of the features here in the latest iteration of Cami, and we look forward to learning more about future iterations from you and your colleagues anytime soon.
Yes, thank you so much, Matt. I've always enjoyed working with you, and anything that you guys need on your Cami journey, you are never alone. Please always feel free to reach out to us.
Thanks so much. And Kristen says the same. Thank you.
Aw, thank you, Kristen. You guys are awesome.
Have a
The best
great day,
people.
everyone.